All right, today we are taking a look at ERC 404. There's a good amount of stuff out about this already. The concept is we're going to have an NFT and we're also going to have a liquidity token, like an ERC20, and we're going to connect them. They want to have it so that if you have this ERC 721, you also get the ERC20 tokens, which you can then put into DeFi, you can borrow, lend, and then, but if you sell the ERC20s, you lose the 721. And which 721 do you lose? Well, you just lose it's like a queue. So whichever the last one, that's the one you lose. Then if you get back a bunch of ERC20s, then it just automatically mints another 721 to you. So if you move the 721, the 20s move. If you move the 20s, the 721s move. And if you split the 20s, then the 721 kind of just dies because it's a half and half. It's like if you split a $100 bill, nobody can spend it. But if you have two halves of a $100 bill, then you can spend it, right? I guess that's the analogy. The interesting thing is, if we're doing it right and they're connected properly and all that works, you can list on a variable. You can list anywhere that NFTs are sold. You can also list the ERC20s onto Compound or Uniswap or anywhere that you want to put that, right? Is that the end game? Is the end game just get listed on OpenSea and get listed on Uniswap and Compound? Like, is that all we want to do is just list everywhere, right? In that way, I appreciate it. It's simple enough. The main feature here is that it's listed on all the marketplaces. So what are the problems? The problem is they're not 721s. These are not indistinguishable assets. But again, maybe they are. If you never sell the ERC20s, then you just have 721s. But if you start sending them if you start using this in any way, then you're kind of removing the non-fungibility of it. If you market this in saying that, oh, you can get NFTs, but you can take loans against them, or if you do anything like that, then it really puts your project at risk of being a security or being a loan or pawnbroking. Oh, cool. Yep. So it's been on the rounds. Now, I'm not going to lie. This has also been a lot of the Chinese media is picking it up too. So the Chinese in English, I don't see it in South America. I don't see anybody talking about this, and it's limited in Europe. Pandora, they're calling themselves Pandora Finance. Cool website. Looks pretty nice. Okay. Here we go. So we've got specific NFTs. They're listed as hex numbers. They are cubes with different colors. And not a cube, I guess you have to call it a box. Pandora's box, right? They're listing sales of NFTs, but they're not telling you which NFT was sold. I'm going through the ERC 404 Pandora transactions, and I'm just trying to understand, like, what is this? Are people buying them? Are they minting them? Are they trading with themselves? Is there like a fee for transferring? That's kind of what I want to see right now. I think what's going on here is this person A transferred some amount of quantity, and then in the process, it was burning a thing and then minting a thing. I'm looking at a few of them. I'm just seeing transferring. I'm not seeing any sales. Or on Uniswap, one Pandora goes for 2.95 ETH, but on Blur, we see listed directly on Blur is 3.7 ETH. That's not pretty liquid. I don't know, man. Like, is that what we're doing? Is just trying to sell the same thing on two different marketplaces? If that's the goal, then the spread's too high. I think if you transfer it using the ERC20, then you lose the number. Maybe if you transfer it as a NFT, you keep the number. Are you really falling in love with these pictures? Like, it's a box that's pink. It's a box that's orange. What's up, Pwen? What's up, Knacknode? I'm not seeing it. Like, I don't see the artwork. I don't see why people are buying this. I don't see if people are actually buying it at all, if they're just selling it to themselves, because I don't actually see any fees on the Pandora marketplace. So if there's no fees, or if the marketplace is in on it, you can create infinite liquidity. So I hope that there's more to this project. Now, there is some other things I wanted to go into looking at this project specifically. They do have this set aside. So owners are either skipped or not. They've kind of got this thing where they can initialize it with whatever they want, but when you change it, you do have to admit this event. If there's a liquidity pool, then we can put this feature in called skip NFT. And then the liquidity pool, there can be tokens coming in and out, but they won't be getting NFTs as a result of transferring the ERC20s. You're not going to see Uniswap showing it owns a bunch of NFTs. So that means that if you have the skip feature, if you send liquidity to the NFT pool, to the ERC20 token pool, like Uniswap, and then the tokens go away because somebody trades them, they're not your tokens anymore. So you keep the NFT, but they get the ERC20s. And then if they transfer to somebody else, that's weird. Let's talk about the specs. So question one, if you've got 10,000 NFTs and you want to transfer 1,000 of them, you can't do that. You can't transfer 1,000 NFTs. Okay, so question two, if you've got 1,000 NFTs and then you send them to Uniswap by sending the ERC20s, and then somebody takes those 20s out, and then they transfer them, now you've got 1,000 NFTs and somebody else has 1,000 NFTs, all from the underlying ERC20 tokens. So, like, that's weird. Number three, who decides which contracts are skipped? Uniswap v4 address, v5. Okay, so I just shared some of our notes about that. Anybody else want to add something up for today? Y'all have speaker roles.
Hey, William, I was going to actually ask you about your talk at NFT NYC this week.
Yes. Wednesday at 1:05 p.m. Are artists entitled to royalties? So it's going to be me and Jody. We got into an email thread. That's how Jody works. You start talking with him and you talk with him, and then he forwards it to his guys. Like, all right, this got to be a talk. We got to put this on stage. And the question is, and we were talking about this before OpenSea kind of blew up with Blur, and before Magic Eden and Bored Ape Yacht Club. This has really evolved over the past year, and the market has moved a lot on this. The companies have moved a lot, and this is still an important discussion because people are not quitting their day jobs to be artists. That's directly related to funding, right? So, I do my part. I buy. I don't sell, so it's like you're not getting royalties out of me anyway. So, I'm not the ideal customer, and is the ideal customer the person who's flipping, right? Like,
well, there's always a bunch of stuff going on. It's impossible to go everywhere. I have planned going. Well, tonight I'm heading over to the VIP dinner. I'm actually outside. I'm waiting for this to be over so I can go inside. So I'm only gonna be there for like an hour, and then they have the Times Square. Hello, Vector.
Hi, Delia. Hello, William.
Hey, good to see you. We've been talking about this. Good to run into you.
Okay, there is like a ERC all devs meeting in I think 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, I give a bit of background. So Pandora was the one that came up with the overall concept, or someone else, like one of their acquaintances. I'm not sure who came up with the idea first. But anyway, the idea is somehow you put pictures on a ERC20, and the initial implementation was kind of like I would say is not very okay. First, it breaks both standards, but just enough so that it can be tradable on Uniswap and OpenSea and all the major platforms. But there are some edge cases that might be dangerous if someone doesn't know about them. If a platform, NFT platform, does some signatures, and the signature is based on the token ID,
yes,
there might be a case where the signatures may overlap with ERC20 token ring. That can cause some issues. So that is one of the concerns that my friends raised. It's not impossible to make an implementation that is completely standard compliant and still achieve most of the effect. Just that it needs to have two contracts.
So the right now, the way it works is that NFTs are the small numbers and the ERC20s are the big numbers.
Yes.
That seems backwards.
technically, if you want the number to go up, it works well enough. If you are just in for the number go out, it
Yeah.
works just well enough for that. So there are some infra or tooling that might break if they don't know that it's actually, if they expect certain behavior from the 721 or the ERC20. In most cases, it should be fine. It should be fine. By separating into two contracts, it enables us to rest easier, like sleep easier at night. And also we can say if you have a whole suite of ERC20 tests or ERC721 tests, you can
Yes.
just plug and play and it will just work. Because all the invariants, everything are still the same. You're not breaking anything. So all the test suites for ERC20s and ERC721, you can just copy and paste across and it will just work. That's the good part of keeping compatibility.
I think there's an edge case problem right now, even if you use Seaport. Even if you use Seaport and you send one, but you receive another and it nets out. So you could steal
Yeah.
NFT that way. So you want to buy something and you stake like 1 ETH as your price. So then I send you 1 ETH and 1 way. And then I steal your NFT for 1 way and I take your 1 ETH. And then we go trade something else. You need like a 4-legged transaction for this to work, but I could steal a low numbered NFT with this. Because
I
Seaport
see.
doesn't know the difference between a 721 and a 20. Because when you set up the contract, it thinks it's a 20, which it is, and it will net out those numbers.
I see.
All right, that's it. Hey, thanks for showing up. I appreciate your perspective on this, and I know we were talking about it in the other call, but it's good to get your notes here.
Okay, thanks for hosting.
Cool. Cheers. See ya.
Cheers.